Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire symposium. My name is Nav, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is a Dance with Dragons. The Prologue and Chapter 1, Tyrion. In these chapters, where do wargs go? Welcome to the podcast, everyone. So, Harmith, who died in these chapters?
Okay, what was her name? Thistle?
Thistle, yeah, I think so.
Thistle, probably, what's his name?
Veramir.
Yeah, him.
You're asking me all the things. What, did you do the homework?
Well, I read it, but the names slip. We know this.
Imagine if this were a test and you were like, oh, her and the guy, what's his name? You would fail.
Well, yeah, that's fine. If I was being tested on a book, I would have read more than 2 chapters of it.
No, if you were being tested on these 2 chapters, which is what each of these podcast episodes is about, don't you know?
Right,
Haven't
exactly.
you learned?
Because
5 books in?
Right. Yeah, but it's more fun when you fail the test, you know? It builds character, it's more entertaining.
Okay, let me tell you that the next time you come whining about your A and not your A+, okay?
Hey. For an entertainment podcast, yes. Have you ever seen people do, Are you smarter than a 5th grader? They'll do, the version of that on, BuzzFeed or something, and it's always more fun when they're, struggling, you know? Everybody roots for an underdog. Unless you're President Snow, and then you're a hater.
Those test quizzes, are you smarter than a 5th grader, just prove to me how much useless information we learn as a 5th grader.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Because, if I don't remember it, it means that I have never had to use it, therefore it was useless.
That's true. See, that's true for you, because your mind does actually retain information. For me, if I don't remember it, it could be 50-50.
It could be that you've never used it, or that you just...
Every time I use it, I search it up or ask someone, yeah.
Fair,
yeah.
I suppose.
Okay. It's my brain will remember, it'll remember it as, oh yeah, and then he went to the thing and did the thing. I'll remember the important parts, but I won't remember them well enough to be able to articulate them. But, if someone started, they were yeah, Voromir, that's his name. If someone was yeah, Veramir. If someone was yeah, when Veramir did this, I could hop on, because now I got the name. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, I'm just realizing I've literally never said his name out loud before in my entire life, because I've only ever read it. And now I'm am I saying it right?
I think so.
We can call him Six Skins.
Yeah. Oh my god. But anyway, he's probably about to die. And then, okay, in Tyrion's chapter, I don't think anybody died. Except it's funny, because this is set directly after, him killing his dad and all that. And it's funny, it's hard for me to sympathize with him, because we've had a book to be used to the fact that Tywin's dead. Meanwhile, Tyrion is and then I heard the little arrow shoot, whatever. He's thinking
crossbow.
About yeah, the crossbow, whatever. It's he's really traumatized by this.
Yeah,
and he's
you do have to put yourself basically a year behind. It's just happened for him. Everything is super fresh.
Yeah,
and same thing for Veramir. The battle at the wall also just happened. So
same thing. It was so hard for me to get in their heads, because I'm guys.
So you didn't go back and read or remind yourself of the happenings.
I didn't. I wasn't able to go back and read Tyrion's, because my brain started dying. But I went back and read a couple of I read Sam's last chapter. I don't know why I did that, don't ask.
You have
I know we've had so much
in the last book.
But because I think because it was Sam's chapter when we heard about Stannis landing or whatever. So I think I
Okay.
just wanted to reacquaint myself with, like,
landing.
you know what I mean? Like, showing up.
Sorry.
Like, I just wanted to reacquaint myself with the Stannis Melisandre stuff and how everyone was, like, seeing that. And then...
But you knew we were reading Tyrion's
Shush.
chapter.
Okay,
So you can start
here's
with
the
that.
thing. Here's the thing, right? I was being ambitious, and I was like, I can read the last 100 pages of Storm easily. And then I forgot how dense it is, and, like, how into the thicket I was gonna get about it. So then by the end of that, I just was like, I can't do this. I have to move on to the new book, or else I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning and have read nothing for the new book. Like, I just need to move on. So I read Sam and John, and that was kind of it. I was being ambitious. I was like, oh, I'll get to, Dany's last... Yeah, it didn't happen. I just kind of got lost. I tried to do too much.
All right. Well, it's okay. We all try. But it's kind of also fun to just be like, this is so last year, but really for these characters, it's like yesterday.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it was kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, sorry, I just had 5 thoughts all at once, and I'm like, which one do I do first?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna ask you this because I know I'm gonna forget it later if I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I had given you the option of reading choosing to read the foreword by now if you wanted. Have you decided to do so, or are you sticking with your decision?
I was so close. You know what the problem is?
Well, you couldn't have read it on your own. That was not the deal. The deal was you would tell me here, and then we would read it together.
Well, yes, but, like, I was so close to changing my mind. And the reason is because every time I open the book, it's right fucking there. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
Like, it's the thing I open to. I don't need that right there, because then every time I'm gonna have to think about my decision or regret it or be like, oh, I don't look at that information, I don't get to you know what I'm saying? Because usually I open up and it's maps. And I don't have to think about all the things I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So every time I would open the book, I'd be like, I should change my mind, shouldn't I? I should change my mind. But I think we're sticking to it. I think it'll be fun. Because then I'm also probably one of the only people going forward without having read it. So it's I'm kind of giving myself a unique experience, and I do like that.
All right, you have dug your grave and now you must lie in it.
Yeah, because how many people can say that they read this fucking book without knowing whatever the fuck's in there?
True, that is true. Like, you're probably the only one.
Yeah.
Actually, no. That's
unless
not
someone
true.
missed it.
I bet there were people that are so eager to read the book that they totally just flip past all the what I do whenever I scrutinize the cover. I read the back.
Most people don't do that.
I read the reviews. I do everything before I actually open the chapter.
Yeah.
But I can see somebody being like, "Oh my god, this book finally after 6 fucking years," and then they just flip to the prologue.
I feel like most people definitely do that. I think a lot of people wouldn't miss the forward, but I totally get it of flipping so fast that you just go forward, or go past it. But I was like, wait, that doesn't work. But I also do the thing where I'm like, hey, cover to cover, what's going on? Who was this published by? Never am I ever going to remember that information, but will I read it? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, but you're probably the first one whose experience other people are going to hear about. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Yeah.
You're unique in that.
Yeah.
All right, so okay, now that that's out of the way, I'm glad. I didn't forget, and there's one thing off my brain checklist that's done. Mm-hmm. The next thing is, what did you think of these chapters? Being back with, well, not back, but being back with Tyrion, but also back in this new POV for the prologue. Yeah, all of that.
This guy's really annoying, but it was cool to see his POV for one chapter.
He's the most, honestly, probably the most pathetic character in all of A Song of Ice and Fire. And that is a very high bar to cross.
Yeah,
that's thousands of characters.
That's a big statement. That's a big, bold statement.
But I kind of stand by it, honestly.
Wow. Okay, see, I don't know if I think that. I just think that he just kind of has shit to sort out, but now he's dead, so never sorted that out. Hey guys, if you have special powers, please don't use them like this. Like, I don't know if, like, superpowers exist, like, you know what I'm saying? But, like, if any of y'all listening have superpowers and that's what draws you to these books, like, please don't do what this guy's doing, you know? Anyway, that's my PSA, I guess. But anyway, I, like, it was fun to read his POV because it was our first time being in the head of one of the free folk, so that was, like, it was a cool new thing. And there was, you know, some callbacks, we learned some stuff, and we learned a lot more about, like, skin changing, which was nice, and we, like, clarified some things that we kind of knew, but, like, just having them in print is nice.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we don't, like, I don't need more chapters of this guy. I'm not like, hey, let's re-alive him, you know? Which I guess, well, oh yeah, no, we have seen animals reanimated before, so I guess him as a wolf could be reanimated. Anyway, none of my business right now. Tyrion's chapter, yeah, I mean, it was good. I think it was a good chapter. It was
yeah, you think?
No, because the thing is, I just had such a hard time getting back into his head, because, like, he was in a place
it's
that I was
also a very
not
different
at.
head than the one we kind of left.
Yeah, and so there was that kind of, like, ooh, this is a new Tyrion, we're kind of getting our footing, like, okay, so that's a line he's still not gonna cross, but this is, like, you know, it's just kind of finding our footing with who he is again, but then also just, like, he's in this, like, weird, like, anger, grieving, just, like, this weird, like, drinking himself away sort of state,
yeah,
that I just feel like I'm not in the mindset of anymore, like, because it's just, like,
this
it's
is not
been
the best of Tyrion.
And it's just, like, it's just been so long since Tywin died in my knowledge in my life, you know what I mean? Like, in my time, it's just been so long that, like, it just doesn't hit as hard as it would if this happened, if this was, like, you know, I read this a while ago. So I kind of, like, I think I'm definitely looking forward to what's upcoming for Tyrion. I, like, low-key, my favorite parts were just, like, seeing Pentos again, and, like, weirdly
right.
seeing Illyrio again. Yeah, it was chill.
Man knows how to live a life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Literally, even Tyrion, who is highborn as shit, rich as shit his whole life, is like, I've never had a feast as good as this one. And that to me was like, can I go there? Like, what do you mean you've never had a feast as good as this one?
Yeah.
Cersei's 87 courses
77
are
course
shook.
dinner.
Oh, yes. Stay shook. Yeah.
Okay, so...
Shall I summarize?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for picking up the scattered parts of my brain and putting them together for us.
Oh my god.
All right.
What's his name again? Wait, Varamir?
Varamir. So it's Varamyr, and every Y in this universe is basically an I, so Varamir.
Okay. All
right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Varamir, his person's left him, but he's a warg, so he's in his wolf's head. They're hunting people. He's talking about his backstory. He's like, sad family, told me never to eat humans, haven't done that yet, should have eaten my companion before she left me, because it's not like she's coming back now. She comes back, he tries to fucking warg into her. He tries to warg into her, breaks his own line, but it doesn't really work, and then he ends up warging in his wolf and dies, second life. Tyrion gets to Pentos, meets Illyrio, immediately doesn't like him, drinks his tears away. Illyrio and him talk. Illyrio's like, hey, go join Dany, she'll pardon you. She's got dragons, basically, is what happens.
Okay. I mean, that's true. You got it. Okay, so that was pretty good.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Except you totally forgot to mention the others, which is like a pretty big part of the prologue.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they're fucking back, baby. And there was like hundreds of them. It was wild.
Like, this prologue does not compare to the Feast for Crows prologue at all. Like,
Mhm.
but I think what it does, it serves a few purposes.
Mhm.
Purposes, right? Purpose-I?
No, it's definitely purposes. Leave it to you.
So, it's obviously giving us information about working and all that stuff, because hopefully we'll be back with Bran and his work journey. So it's giving us information about that, but it's also bringing us back to the north and kind of making us once again aware of the threat in the north, because we've been so distant from it for so long.
We've
It's
been
like,
in the
oh,
Summerlands,
right! Like,
man.
literally dead zombies or undead zombies and walkers. Like, shit's coming.
Man, I miss Feast. I miss when we were always in this. No, because like we were in summer, we were in King's Landing. We were like, guys, winter's coming, but like we weren't in. You know what I mean? Like it was different. It kind of hits different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't like this. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's what this book is, so get ready.
Oh god.
I mean, Tyrion's in warm weather, and we don't have a lot of information about this, but it doesn't seem like the winter hits Essos the same way it hits Westeros.
Yeah.
Right? But
that
who knows?
Yeah, that's tough, because now we have Jon, we have Bran, and they're both up there, and they're both gonna make it really depressing.
And you had wanted this prologue to be about Rickon, but he is still nowhere to be found.
I'm starting to think we're just never gonna see him again. Because this is the last book. Like, we literally might never see him again. And we might just have to theorize that he's someone that we see one day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
some guy with a beard shows up and it's like, oh my god, he's grown so much. Like,
exactly. We're like, oh, his warging abilities actually like aged him. Like we just start creating some like wild ass theories, you know?
He warged into an old man.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god. Can you imagine?
Okay, so dive into the chapters.
It's like, why did you pause?
I'm so sorry. What, you know, when you like think about something and you like, it's like you kind of like dig through your brain. Like, I don't know how to like explain the visuals that are happening. And you're like, oh yes, this thing, and then you grab it and you talk about it. When I go to dig today, there's nothing. There's like nothing.
Funny.
It's like a clothesline with no clothes on it.
Stop. So you're just like,
it's a file folder with no files.
So you're just like, shall I take the pins off and take those? Like,
yeah. So
that's kind of fun.
That's a great start to this new book, I can tell.
Well, that's fun.
So the prologue. It starts with Varamir.
I will say, this prologue starts and it's like, the night was rank with the smell of men. The warg stopped beneath a tree and sniffed.
Did you think it was Bran?
I was hoping it was Bran. I was like, this could be Bran.
Well, why would we have a prologue from Bran and not a chapter from Bran?
Well, I wasn't really thinking about it logically. I was just kind of hoping.
You weren't also thinking about your prediction that it was going to be
Rickon?
The other kid. Rickon, thank you.
The other kid?
See, Iris reached for it and nothing came.
The other kid, the amount of times you've bullied me for not valuing Bran and Rickon as characters as much as the other Starks, and now you come out saying the other kid.
Said Rickon's name like 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes ago.
Not you proving your own point. That's so funny. But yeah, I was like, Bran? I was like, is this like the personification of the three-eyed crow that's gonna teach Bran? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is this Jon finally realizing and like doing his abilities? Like, this, I was so excited. And then it was still cool, but it just wasn't what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, so he kind of like skips around his wolves, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's in one and then the other and then the other, but there's 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just, you know, they're hunting and
he's got hatred and he's got hunger. He says at one point, and I liked that.
He got that they're hunting people. That's the answer.
Yeah.
And there's a baby that they eat, which it sucks, but I guess.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know if this is just kind of in my head. Well, I guess it makes sense. Okay, so obviously George R. R. Martin's going to write every character a little bit different, like when we're in their head. And maybe it's just because we only get one chapter from them, but it always feels like the prologue and epilogues are written in like a very specific way. And then everyone else, it's like, it feels like two circles instead of a Venn diagram. Like, I feel like this circle is the way that prologue and epilogue characters are written, and this circle is everyone else, but maybe it's just like we only see them once, so it feels different, like you know what I mean? Or maybe it's like he tries harder to like set the scene in those chapters, so because we're never gonna see them again, it's a little bit less about like this guy specifically. But I was just gonna say, or maybe it's just my anticipation and like excitement for the books or the ending of the books, but I always like, it's always a bit more enjoyable reading like prologue, epilogue, because it just always feels different. It's like the vibes are different, and it's probably all those reasons.
Right.
Anyway,
it's usually fun that the prologues and the epilogues are like introducing us to a part of the world or like a situation that we're not super familiar with, so it's giving us a lot of new information.
Right. Yeah. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, no, that's a good like
thought. In this chapter, another like, obviously it came through in the way that he was like describing like the north and like the atmosphere and the stuff, and like, you know, this guy's like literally dying and like he's in like this little hut in the woods, so like that was like very like visceral imagery. But then also like just the way that he describes like himself was really interesting to me, because he bounces between like using, what's his fucking name, Varamir and like Hagon, but then also Hagon was like a different person. So then, like, it was just kind of, it just kind of felt like a game of trying to keep track of what's going on, which was kind of fun. Like, it was, like, I felt stimulated trying to figure out what was going on.
He's both, like, super full of himself and also completely lacking in confidence. It's, like...
And, like, so he's, like, describing himself, but then also, like, when we start off the chapter and he's kind of describing, like, those were man smells. Man are the ones who, like, hunt other animals and then wear their skins. Like, it just was interesting. And then he's describing, like, and then, like, my body was in the tent and I was freezing. Like, this chapter was such a little, like, exploration of this guy. And as much as I don't like him, it was cool, you know? I was like, can we get this for like we've seen Bran Warg now, but also Bran is like 7 years old, so I get that we're not going to get this like in-depth exploration into his psyche, but it would be cool to one day kind of get like a, I don't know, like, it's interesting to be in the head of the skin changer who's like, it's like already hard to have an identity and like, who are you, like, what are you,
right? And
for him it's even more like, okay, you know? Anyway, it was just cool. So I think that was my favorite part of the chapter, was like figuring out who this guy is, because...
And him trying to figure out who he is and all of that.
Yes. Anyway, I'm done.
It's just one big identity crisis of a chapter.
Yeah, hey, I guess this is Feast for Crows. Like, we're back to the identity crises.
Or is it crises?
Oh my god. Yes, that one.
Plurals. Okay, so he comes to himself like in this little mud house that he's holed up in, and he's in rough condition. Like you said, he's super hungry. Thistle, the person who's kind of been looking after him, which I'm also like, why though? Like, like, why isn't she just like gone and like looked out for herself? I guess that reveals unfortunate things about myself, but maybe I just
okay, but like, I kind of get it. Like, genuinely, I would have probably just run off for myself too.
Yeah. So
ain't no way I'd be benevolent like this. Like,
yeah,
no.
She's like patched him up because he got himself stabbed. Because, well, yeah, he was cold. He needed a coat, and he went to take a squirrel skin coat off a dead woman, and presumably the dead woman's kid comes and stabs him for trying to steal from her mom, from his mom, and then so he's been injured, and he's like all kind of super physically weak to begin with, and now he's injured, but Thistle's patched it up and is trying to take care of him, and now she's gone off hunting to try to find some food, but he's just in this cottage cabin mud house thing, and I guess by the fire that she lit like 3 days ago, which is completely dying out.
And he's really hungry.
Yeah, so it's a miserable time. But I will say, I don't remember my reaction the first time, whether I was sympathetic at first and then like
kind of stopped, left
lost
his
my
side.
sympathy.
Yeah.
But reading it this time, I knew this guy was terrible, so like I had no sympathy to begin with.
That's funny. I just kind of was reading too quick to think about it.
Fair.
I was just kind of like, who is this guy? You know?
Yeah, and he's thinking about, oh my god, how my wolves have like, you know, they're eating these people. They're full, they're satisfied. I wish I could be them. But then he's like, no, but you can't eat human meat. That's one of the wrong things to do. That. And then he kind of lists off like the main rules of skin changing, of warging, and to eat of human meat was abomination. To mate as a wolf with wolf was abomination, which he later tells us that he has done
many times.
Yeah, and to seize the body of another man was the worst abomination of all. So this is like his line that he has never crossed. And he's never eaten human meat like as a human, but he does it as wolves like all the time. So I don't know if what's what, but either way. It also, like, when you read this, you're like, oh, and then immediately your brain goes to, oh, Bran.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like, even back then we knew it was icky, but now we're like, oh yeah, further confirmation. Like, everyone kind of thinks, even this guy thinks that's icky.
Yeah.
He does go on to try and
when
do
the
it,
worst
but...
person is like, that's too far.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's gotta be really far.
Yeah, like, yeah.
So he's remembering all these teachings from this guy, Hagen, who was a skin changer himself and taught him all the ways and things and all of that. And we later learn how he became a disciple of Hagen's, and it's because so as a kid he was called Lump, and he had a brother who was called Bump, and his parents liked Bump more, so he was jealous and morphed into a dog and killed his brother. And then his dad killed the dog, but he was warged into the dog, and so he cried out when the dog was killed, and so he felt the pain of dying. And then his dad knew that he was in the dog and took him to Hagen to be like, okay, you raise him now.
It's interesting because he doesn't, like, we kind of have to infer that he's like, oh yeah, when my brother died, like, there's no sense of responsibility there. Like, it's like,
no.
Like,
it's almost like, well, obviously he had to die. Like, they were giving him preferential treatment.
Yeah,
like...
exactly. And like, and he also is like, oh, like they my dad didn't know which of the wolves did it, so all of them had to die. Like, there's no, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then he's like, he says like 5 times, he's like, my mom cried for my brother, but not for me. And it's like, well, maybe it's because you killed your brother. Maybe that has something, like, I understand that, like,
but
he's
also,
trying to
he
say...
was 6, and I'm not saying, like, it's not a fucked up thing to do, but maybe you should talk to your child.
Yeah, like,
instead of, like, abandoning him to a stranger.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I don't, like... You know, I'm sure that, he's had people be like, the fuck, you're a warg, and, like, I get that, right? Like, he's had that experience. But, like, this is, like, bro, you killed your brother. You can't be like, my mom doesn't love me. Like, okay, maybe it's possible, and your parents sucked, and they didn't love you, right? But you wouldn't know because you killed your brother before you could find that out. Before you could find out if it was just sibling dynamics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just kind of is like, I don't know if you quite have that leg to stand on, buddy. But
yeah, so
anyway,
that's
he's
his
sad about
backstory.
it.
But he started off as like this kind of scrawny kid who wasn't good at much and like disliked by his family and community, it seems like. But then he gets sent to this Hagen guy, and the Hagen guy teaches him like the ways of the skin walking, but also of how to like hunt and feed yourself and all of those things. And he ends up eventually killing this Hagen guy as well, which at that point you're no longer 6, you're responsible.
Yeah.
And like something is
I have a
happening.
clarifying question. So
Sure.
he's saying I ripped his second life from him. I'm confused because if he killed him in human form, wouldn't he have given him his second life? Or is it like he killed him before he had a chance to warg into something? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I don't.
Okay,
Your
okay.
sentences don't make sense.
Okay, so
Given
here
him
it says...
second life?
Okay, here it says, he died weeping and alone when I ripped his second life from him. And then later on it says, I devoured his heart myself. He taught me much and more, and the last thing I learned from him was the taste of human flesh, right? So that to me says that Vermeer was in animal form and Hagen was in human form when he killed, right? Because also we know that he hasn't crossed that human line. Okay, so he killed him.
Yeah, second life is your human life. Like, second life is your human life. And he also at one point mentions how Hagen didn't have enough time to warg into somebody else, like into an animal before he...
Okay, so that's how he ripped his second life from him. Because I thought second life was the thing you can warg into to leave your human life.
He killed Hagen when Hagen was inside Hagen, like in his human form.
Okay, gotcha. And he basically, Hagen didn't, I guess because in my thing is like, you know how at the end of the chapter, Vermeer tries to warg into Thistle, but then he can't, so then last minute he kind of resorts to like his wolf? I thought it was that sort of thing where like in that moment of adrenaline, like Hagen could have just picked something else, like he would have had enough time to do that at least.
I think I might be misremembering this, but I thought in the chapter somewhere it said that he didn't have time to or chance to do it.
Okay, it might have. I think I just forgot that. Okay, maybe if we get
sure it
to
says. Maybe I'll come across it, but I'll like quote it, but I don't.
Sounds good. Because I was like, if he didn't, because I forgot that detail about the time, so I was like, why? How could you have ripped his second life when his second life would have been him like going and becoming a wolf, you know? But I guess if he didn't have enough time, then that's how he ripped it from him, because he did the death so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Okay, we can move on.
Okay. I hope that's not something I'm making up, and it's actually in the chapter, but we'll see if we come across it. Okay, so he's then thinking about Thistle and how they all escaped, like they ran from the wall after Stannis came down and all of that, and how people are like going to Hardhome, some are going to where the Thens are from, some are like he says the Weeper is gathering people to attack the Shadow Tower, so like people are mounting other attacks, and there's this one woman who has a prophetic dream about ships at Hardhome, so that's why everybody follows her there. It's like this whole a bunch of things are happening, right?
Yeah.
And Thistle comes across him when he's wounded, and she patches him up and all of that. And she's talking about how, like, there's no good leaders left. Like, and one of the leaders she mentions is himself. And so he's like, oh shit, she doesn't know who I am because I don't have my, like, you know, intimidating animals around me.
Yeah.
So once again, I'm like, so if she doesn't think he's, like, a great leader, and he's clearly just terrible, why does she keep trying to help him?
LOL.
But maybe it's not clear to her that he's so terrible.
LOL. Yeah.
But
yeah, he's like, oh my god. Yeah, I was the brave guy, and I broke bread with Mance Rayder, but I ran just like every other fucking person.
Yeah. And we learn he's already died 9 times.
Wild.
And the last time was when that eagle owl, what was it?
The eagle, yeah.
Yeah, the eagle that Melisandre burned, and he was like, "Oh, I thought it was a fire arrow, but no, this shit was like more intense. It was from within that I burned."
Dude,
So
Melisandre be scary.
yeah, I think we were there when John was in that
so.
tent when he cries out with pain from that, right?
Yeah.
And during that incident, he also loses control of a few of his animals.
Yeah.
One of which is the big bear who always hated him, and he's like, so she was super happy to be let go of his control, and yeah, I wonder where she's at now. I hope she's living her best life.
Yeah, I hope so too.
We also learn, like, this is all kind of spread throughout, but so after he kills Hagen, he kind of becomes like the warg of that area, and like people pay homage to him because you know he's got animals and shit, but he kind of, it's like he's weird comparison, but maybe not. The thing that came to mind was like, you know, in fairy tales you hear about like the dragon that demands a virgin on whatever date, and like people must pay the price, otherwise the dragon will kill everybody.
Right.
He's trying to embody that kind of energy.
Right.
But obviously he's not a dragon.
Yeah.
And he also, so his way of, so people like give him food and shit and all of that, but he also stalks women, and the women then just have to agree to have sex with him because there's no choice. And he's like, oh, sometimes their like family members would come after them, and I would kill them, of course, but I never harmed the woman. I only raped them. Like,
yeah, it's very twisted.
And we learned that he keeps their hair as like a trophy. It's so gross.
It's really fucked up. And then he's like, oh, I was in such a good position. Mance got me here. Mance fucked me over by like, oh, the mission didn't succeed. And it's like, dude, Mance is locked the fuck up. Like, you know? And especially because he has these thoughts after he points out to us that, like, you know, people are dropping like fleas. Like, there's been shit going on. And now you're blaming Mance for trying to have gotten you out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this man is just delusional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, I've gotten to the point where he's remembering Hagen telling him about the second life. And yeah, so when your true death comes, you will live again. The second life is simpler or sweeter. So the second life is when you live in an animal and never as a human. Yeah. Okay. So that part of it is clarified. Maybe more information will come and make sense later.
Yeah, I remembered that part. I just wasn't sure about why the guy didn't get to do that. But it is kind of evil of him, because it's like, this is the guy who taught him about the second life, and he was always like, oh my god, I can't wait to get there, and then you took it from him? Like, dude.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
And then he's thinking about how he should have taken Thistle, like, as a quote-unquote vessel. Like, he doesn't say that, but that's kind of the term that came to mind. And it's, and he's like, it's not right that she should live and I should die, which, how entitled is that? Just, sorry, I hate this guy so much. And every, like, sentence I read, I hate him a little bit more.
Yeah, it's not very great.
Yeah.
I did have a question. Kind of a clarifying question. Yeah. So when he's thinking, like, right before we get the information about, like, first life versus second life, he's thinking back to, like, Thistle, like, stitching him up and helping him, which, once again, girl boss, he fucking sucks. And he's thinking back to that, and she said, like, like, Hornfoot men probably killed the girl who you tried to steal the cloak from, blah, blah, blah. And then she herself is like, savages and who's left to tame them? And I'm like, is this just like that? I'm like,
it's like racism within the free folk.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, is it that? Or is it just like, she's describing their behavior?
Clans, like, they're the ones who don't wear shoes.
Okay.
And so their like feet have just kind of adapted to the cold.
Oh, okay.
And people, like, the other free folk kind of look down on them. So
Oh, okay, I forgot about this. I was like, is it because they're the ones going around, like, doing shit specifically? But, like, why, how would she know, you know? But that makes sense that they're just racist to each other.
so he okay, there's a lot of reminiscing in his brain going on, so we're just talking about it, but also
Yeah.
he's, like, in the meantime dying in this cabin mud house thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I gotta get out, I'm gonna call out to Thistle. He gets to the door, he opens it, it's like lots of snow.
Yeah.
And he goes outside and he sees the weirwood watching him, and he's like, oh, I don't even know what he's like, but
Oh my god.
basically, like, I'm gonna die here, and it's gonna suck.
Oh my gosh.
But then he's once again, like, kind of sinks into reminiscing, and here are, like, we get information about the different types of wargs, or the different types of animals you can warg into, and what each means. Oh yeah, he's thinking about how, like, his wolves will probably be the ones to eat him when he dies here, because it makes sense. They, like, fed him or scavenged for him when they could, so it's only good that he should feed them. So he's kind of got a weird, like, soft spot for these wolves, but for everybody else he only has disdain.
Yeah, literally. And every other animal of his too. It's like he's very much keeping trapped, but with the wolves he's like, that's my pack.
Yeah, they're my brothers, like, he literally calls them that.
Yeah.
And so he remembers that dogs are the easiest animals to bond with because they're so close to humans that they're basically human. Interesting logic.
Yeah.
And then wolves are harder, but once you bond with a wolf, like, that's it. You are BFFs for life, basically.
Which we know.
Hagen says that, like, it's basically a marriage. Like, it's one and done. And also, like, the wolf is part of you from that day on, and you're part of him. Both of you will change. So, once again, what are the implications for the Starks and all them? And then cats are apparently vain and cruel, so they're not... they're always ready to turn on you. That's interesting. Elk and deer are prey, and being in them too long will make you a coward as well.
Interesting.
It's, I don't know, it's kind of logic, but kind of not.
Yeah, it kind of just feels like things that it just kind of feels like the rules about, like, okay, like, don't kill a human while you're in the human form. Like, that kind of stuff to me, I'm like, okay, this makes sense to me. Like, this is, like, moral lines, whatever. Some of these things, I'm like, this just feels like you just decided, like this animal's too girly. I don't want to work into that. You know what I mean? It just feels very subjective and
I think it's probably
random.
just Hagen's like, his personal perspective.
Yeah.
That his other thing is, like, birds are the worst to warg into, because once, like, you get your head in the clouds, you never want to come down. And he says that he's seen people who, like, warged into birds, that even when they're in their own skins, they sit moony staring up at the sky. So interesting. I wonder what the three-eyed crow has to say about that, because he seems to communicate through crows and ravens.
Yeah, and also, like, that's what Bran wants to do. Like, Bran wants to
is a three-eyed crow some guy, like, sitting staring up at the sky, just like...
Right, he just constantly spends his time in that form. Yeah, I don't know, because this is where Bran wants to get to. So is this a premonition? I don't know.
Yeah. And so Viramir has, like, his warging ability is quite a bit more advanced than most other people he's met. Like, most people can only warg into one animal, and like, that's about it.
He went to a warg conference.
Yeah, he did go to a warg conference. It's a warg con.
Beautiful.
But he does note that when he met Jon, he realized Jon was a warg, like, immediately, and also that he had power. So funny. But that he was still suppressing his power instead of leaning into it as he should.
Oh my god. This would be such an exciting development. Can we please make this happen in this book?
Yeah. So at this point, he's like lying out in the snow, but he's like, okay, if this will ever comes, I've decided I'm gonna live out my life in her terrible body, but at least I'll live. Like,
Oh my
he's
God.
insulting her while also being like, she's my only hope. It's
literally.
just...
Yeah. He's not great.
Yeah. And he eats some snow. I don't know. He's like, maybe there's like a sack of apples or some meat or something in one of these other houses.
Got left
maybe
behind.
I'll go look.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't Thistle have looked for that first before going off hunting?
Yeah, but I think at this point he's like, anything's better than just kind of withering away here. Like, maybe I have a chance of finding something, you know?
Yeah. He remembers going to Eastwatch with Hagen to trade.
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh, them summer lands, that's what I want to be.
Uh-huh.
But he's also aware that people beyond or below or south of the wall don't respond well to wargs.
Oh my God.
Even like beyond the wall, they're feared, but at least like people kind of respect them to some degree.
Yeah, and honor them. Yeah, and this is where we find out that he wargs into his girl wolf.
Yeah. When the other wolf is having sex with her. It's
Which
like
is
a weird...
so weird. Like, what is this fantasy you do? Like,
I guess.
are you that lonely? Like, this is what you need to do? Like, oh my God. It's funny because the other rules he was like, oh yeah, he was like kind of bragging about how he'd never broken them, but that one he's like just kind of done so many times. So I just kind of was like, does he have like is it tiered in his head? Like, oh, this one's fine to do, but that's where I draw the line, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's remembering more of his teachings, yada yada yada. When Hagen told him that like when you are living your second life in an animal, you kind of slowly become, it's more animal and less man as the time goes on. And he remembers experiencing that himself when he warged into the Orl's eagle.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
So does this mean that all the Starks, well, not all the Starks, but I guess Arya, if she ever gets back to Nymeria, as of right now, I guess just Bran, Rickon, and Jon, that they can all like die multiple times and just like, I don't know, chillax?
But okay, so die, like, say Jon is in Ghost and Ghost dies. Jon goes back to his body, then what? Then if Jon dies, Jon dies.
No, but if Jon dies, then he, like...
Then he can be, like, Ghost for the rest of his life, sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then, once again, the man slowly fades, and it's then more the animal that is left.
So, yeah, but then at least it's
so
like
maybe
he
for a while
on.
You would have a ghost that's like super broody, but then eventually it just turns into being an animal again.
Oh my God.
Regular old wolf.
These other wolves don't understand me. I'm a bastard. Yeah, because, like...
The wolf is like, I won't have sex outside of marriage. I don't want to father any bastards.
Oh my God, can you imagine? And all the wolves that are, like, all the, like, lady wolves that are trying to get with him are like, dude, just put out. Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
this is such a weird line of conversation. Okay, so... What's your question again?
Wait. So I guess my question is, like, has Varamir, every time he died, had to, like, inhabit a different, like, human form, I guess?
No, so he's only ever died when he's in an, like, other animals that he's been inside have died. And then every time that animal dies, for example, that dog that first time, the dog dies, he jumps back into his own skin.
Oh,
you know?
So he's... I get it. But you can only handle being killed in that, like, transformed...
Yeah, like, if he died when he was inside the dog, then he would be inside the dog, and that would be that. That would be his second life.
That makes sense. But, okay, I get it. So, like, let's say, like, I own... let's say I'm like the Cruella de Vil, like the Dalmatians lady,
Sure.
and I have 101 Dalmatians. So, like, it's like the thing of, like, my body could only, depending on how strong my powers were, my body could only handle dying, like, 10 times inside of one of my Dalmatians?
No,
or is it
no.
like, because I guess my question
No,
is...
she could go through each 101 Dalmatians.
And then you would be like, die. Okay, because I guess...
No.
No,
Then
okay, wait, I have a question. Let me ask my question. You're cutting me off. Okay, so is it like the final death is when you die in your body form? Or is it... Okay, because I wasn't sure if it was you dying in your body form, or if it was like, depending on how strong your powers are, you can only handle dying in so many Dalmatians.
I don't think there's a limit.
Okay.
It's just that, like, okay, once again, like, other than Viramir, most people only have the one warg animal. Like, they don't have multiples.
So, okay, so you would have to go find
say
another...
she, like, 100 of her Dalmatians die.
Mm-hmm.
And she's inside them. She jumps back to her body. But if she dies when she's in the 101st Dalmatian, like, if her body dies, then she's stuck in that Dalmatian.
Right. That makes sense. Because there's nothing to jump back to, because she did.
Yeah.
But, okay, but theoretically, if all 101 Dalmatians die, and that was all while she was in the Dalmatian form, so now she hops back to her Cruella body, and let's say there's no more Dalmatians because she killed them all, right? Like, there's no more Dalmatians, and let's say she can only warg into that one animal... So now she's kind of done warging, right? Because there's no more Dalmatians. Let's just say there's no more dogs, period. Not specifically Dalmatians.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. That's, like, very technical. Like, okay. I don't know, like, a hard... Because I don't...
I
don't know if you've ever encountered that situation in this world, but...
Okay. George R. R. Martin,
maybe in her last attempt, she, like, flings her spirit out like Viramir does. And just, like, wargs into the nearest tree or something. Like, whatever, like, she can make do.
Or maybe she ends up, or maybe she ends up going into, like, a cat. Maybe the cat ends up being the nearest thing to a dog, and her body is able to just do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, George R. R. Martin, come on our podcast and explain these technicalities to us, please. Thank you.
Yeah, no, don't do that and go write that book instead.
Yeah, honestly, it's so funny because it's more likely at this point that he'll come onto our podcast.
Yeah.
Then he'll finish the sixth
thing
book, which is kind of sad.
The Direwolves reprised became such a, like, once we realized that he was, like, part of that, it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Bringing direwolves back to life when you should be going there writing a book. Like,
yeah, people
go sit in a corner and write.
Yeah, people just turned on him. They're like, either write or go into fucking retirement. Why are you making all these celebrity announcements? That's so funny that people turned on him for that.
I mean, I'm one of the people, so I'm not even...
It's okay, Martin. I'm on your side. You can still come to the podcast. I'm just trying to sweet talk him onto this podcast.
Yeah,
he's definitely listening.
Definitely listening and cares.
Someone at him. Oh my god, we should add him. I'll clip this and add him. Okay, moving on.
All right. So.
Okay, thank you for clarifying my super pedantic shit.
He has experience of seeing how, like, the personality of the human fades inside the animal because he took over Oral's eagle and all he could feel was, like, he could feel Oral's, like, presence, but it was mostly, it had turned into hatred for Jon Snow. Like, it was just kind of pinpointed to that point. Is that a phrase? I don't know. But, because Jon is the one who killed him. Right. So... because of that, the hatred was so strong that Viramir himself found himself hating Jon for no reason, even though he had never, like, had an encounter with him.
And that's wild.
Yeah, he's like, man should have let me take Ghost. That would have been a great second life. And I'm like, you could have tried. I don't know if it would have worked, honestly.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's an interesting what if.
The gift was strong in snow, but the youth was untaught, still fighting his nature when he should have gloried in it. Ugh.
Oh my god.
Everything he says, even if it's like true, I'm just like, ugh.
True.
So, okay, so Thistle, he like wakes up to Thistle shaking him awake. And she's returned and she's like, they're coming, we gotta go, they're coming. And like, did you realize who they were at this point? Or were you like, yada yada yada?
No, I definitely was clued in at this point.
Okay, good.
Yada yada yada.
And he's like, this is the time, it's now or never. So he tries to work into her and it is not good.
Yeah,
like,
this was
she
hard
is
to
in
read.
like agony. She's like, get out. She claws her own eyes out, bites her own tongue off. Like,
dude, yeah.
I'm like, is this how Hodor feels every time Bran does it? But like, not every time, but the times that Bran does it, like I think a couple times, right?
Yeah.
And how does he deal with it? And
yeah,
yikes.
That is, yeah, that's terrifying.
And then he kind of like gets pushed out of her, and then it's like his consciousness is like floating from animal to animal to thing, and he's like inside the weird, like, this is the first time that we realized that like
weirwoods, I guess, are sentient. Trees. Yeah. Well, I think it's probably only weirwoods. Well, that's what I assumed.
He says at one point in the clouds he was a sparrow, a squirrel, an oak.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay.
He was inside the owl, inside the hare, inside the trees. Like, it doesn't specify. I think as long as it's a living organism. And maybe
that shit's
maybe
cool.
It's like only in the north thing, because like the gods of the woods, like maybe each tree has a part of the gods in it, or I don't know.
Yeah. That's actually really cool.
Right? So maybe there is somebody watching you from behind those weirwood eyes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, real, yeah.
I guess for weirwoods, I just always was like, that bitch is living.
Okay. You're like, yeah, that's
in some way. We've just had too many people be like, it's fucking watching, for it to not have been fucking watching, you know?
Fair. Yeah, so he goes from the weirwood to like sparrow, squirrel, oak, like he just kind of bouncing around, and then he's like, I am the wood and everything that's in it. And eventually he finds his own wolves, and he enters One Eye. That's his like lead wolf. And that's, yeah, his wolves would save him, he told himself. That was his last thought as a man. So that's like a, true death came suddenly. So he's definitely dead in his real body, but he is now One Eye, inside One Eye. And a part of him grieved for what he had lost, and another part for what he'd done. So once again, this shitty ass person is like, oh, that was fucked up of me. And it's like really like hammering the point that Bran, you need to stop doing that.
Yeah. He's like, oh shit, I crossed that fucking line too.
So his wolves are like up on like a hill on a crest somewhere, and they're watching the village where his body is and Thistle's body is, or was, or whatever. And it's now like there's a bunch of the undead there as well. And Thistle becomes one of them, and even though she doesn't have eyes anymore, there's still a blue glow behind her where her eyes should be. And what about him? Like, does his body get undeaded?
I don't know, maybe.
And then if his body is undead, can he work back into it? I don't know.
That's fucking creepy. I sure hope not.
Yeah, we would have heard about that happening. Or maybe, well, I mean, we're just now learning about the rules of working, so maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, because maybe... Yeah, I don't know, because maybe, like... Because I feel like what some of the... Yeah, I don't know, that's tough. Because maybe by then you wouldn't want to... Because I'm just thinking, like, okay, so what are the other skin changers up, like, north here up too, but then I'm like, well, some of them might have chosen to just like find an animal and like go hang out there and then just like wait. Can you just like leave your body and then like eventually like your body dies? You know what I'm saying? Can you just choose your second life to start early?
If you leave your body and then you never come back to eat or anything, then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, your body's probably gonna waste away.
Or is it like because you're still like, would you still feel all that wasting away and stuff because you're still technically there? Like you haven't severed that.
I don't know.
You know
I've
what
never
I'm saying?
walked into an animal.
So I'm like, because I'm just thinking like that would probably be the best case scenario here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to flee, you have nowhere else to go, you know, like, the others might come and get you anyway. Like, that might be, like, a quick way to kind of, like get, like,
or
an
why
easy
wouldn't
death.
you just stay in your body until the last moment and then flee so that death is quick?
Right, that's true. But maybe it's, like, then you have to keep that animal that you want to warg into around. Because what if, when death comes quick, there's nothing around for you to warg into?
Yeah, well, I don't know what the range on this
working How many kilometers is it? Guys,
yeah.
Guys, I need all the details. See,
how strong is the Wi-Fi signal?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, there was a couple other things I wanted to... Okay, so as he's sort of like, you know, this moment where he's like, inside the weirwood, inside the spare, all the things, like, this was so nice. This was so wonderful, because then at one point, he, like, when he says, like...
Was it nice?
Well, yes! Just listen, because it just was like... It was like him at one with the earth, and it was nice, you know? And especially because, like, earlier in the chapter... Oh my god, what does he say? Hold on. Oh yeah, earlier in the chapter, he's like, yeah, with Manstead, we're all doomed. All of them were doomed, even the crows. They might not know it yet, but those black-cloaked bastards would perish with the rest. The enemy was coming. And then it just, I don't know, it just was a nice, like, it just, in a weird kind of way, it, like, gave me hope, I guess, for them, because he's like, we're all doomed, whatever. But then it just, to me, is like, okay, maybe we can use, like, the warging, we can use the dragons, like, we can use our connection with the supernatural and our connection with the earth to, like, rid this thread of the others. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so like, there's, like, a hint of hope in there?
Yes, that's kind of, I think, what I was latching on to.
Interesting, yeah. No, I didn't really pick up on that, but I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just going back to try to remember if that thing about Hagen dying too quickly is real or if it's just an
assumption
thing I manufactured in my brain.
Right. Maybe it also could be like, if it wasn't the time, it was like he killed him somewhere where there wasn't any animals around. Or
yeah,
something.
Hagen was weak, afraid of his own power. He died weeping and alone when I ripped his second life from him. So maybe it is just that there was no button, like he was out of range.
Signal didn't work. And then the weakness could also be like, he didn't have the bravery to try and warg into me while he was dying, like, sort of thing, because he wouldn't do that. That was against his morals or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't actually say anything about timing. I think I just made that up. That's one of my assumptions that's wrong. All right. Okay, so the chapter ends with him looking up. No, him looking down at the undead, and Thistle, who has just been recently undeaded, looking right at him. So it's like, oh, they're coming for me. So he doesn't die in this prologue, but he probably dies pretty soon after.
I have a question. So just to clarify, skin changing, you can change into other animals. Warg, you change into a wolf.
No, I think it's, like, interchangeable.
Oh, okay. Because, okay, wait, hold on. Because when he's talking about the little warg convention, yeah, because he says the wargs were the most numerous in that company, the Wolf brothers. But the boy had found the others stranger and more fascinating. Because he's like, not all skin changers feel the same, but wargs feel this way, I thought is what he was implying.
Okay, that does make me question, but Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm on the wiki of Ice and Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, skin changer or beastling is a person with the ability to enter the mind of an animal and control its actions. A skin changer able to enter the mind of a wolf or dog is known as a warg.
Okay.
What? I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I did not know that.
Really?
I thought they were interchangeable.
Oh my
So all
God.
wargs are skin changers, but not all skin changers are wargs.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Why specifically only dogs or wolves, though? Like,
I
why
don't
that
know.
distinction?
Well, I guess because, you know, we follow the Starks and the Wolves. So George R. R. Martin was like, I'm inventing a new
sense
name.
for the free folk.
Well, maybe because they're the easiest to warg into, right? So he says like they're the most common.
But wasn't Oral also referred to as a warg? And he's an eagle.
I have no idea. Well, maybe he could still go into a wolf, or I guess everyone could probably. I don't know.
Okay, it says he's a skin changer, so maybe it is like weirdly specific. I don't know. Okay, well, the more you know.
I guess like for example, Varamir can go into multiple, so you could still call Varamir a warg because he can warg. But yeah, but he can also do other.
Yeah, I thought they were interchangeable. I'm probably gonna talk about them like they're still interchangeable. So just
well,
FYI.
yeah, because who else do we know we don't see anybody else warging into like roosters. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Wild chapter.
Okay, predictions for this. So Varamir, you think dies? The others / the zombies get him?
Yes. Absolutely.
And so once again, the zombies are a threat, and like they're a real threat. Anything to add to that?
I'm kind of worried about Jon because he's in charge, but like the politics aren't working too well for him, or at least I assume. So I'm worried about that, but then I'm also worried about this, literal existential threat. So, yeah, poor Jon. Jon better not die in this book is all I have to say, I think. Even if, Kate, you know what? If George R. R. Martin is killing him off, at least let him live on in his wolf. You know what I'm saying? Like, something.
Okay, so you've gone from Jon can never die, he's the one character that can never die, to he can now die but be ghost? A literal ghost?
No, it's cause I'm realizing that coming into this series, the one thing I knew, right, was that everybody dies. And now the one thing I've seen is that everybody dies. So it's just kind of, okay, you know what my actual prediction is? I think he doesn't die in the 5th book, but I think he dies in the show. And I think that's what people are mad about. And then that's why people are worried. And I think that's why people are worried and anxious, because they're also worried that maybe like George R. R. Martin's gonna kill him off in like book 6. Or maybe book 5 ends on a cliffhanger where he's about to die. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Something like that.
So people are only angry about the lack of a 6th book because they think Jon might die.
No.
It's all about Jon.
No. I'm just saying that's an additional thing of like, people are mad about the way the show did it, but because they're like, they did it wrong, but then they're also like, is it gonna happen? We just want to know, like, it's part of it.
So you're gonna be okay with Jon dying now then?
I'm not going to be okay with Jon dying. Jon better not die. But I'm just saying.
So Jon better die.
No, what? No. But I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna kill him off in book 8, and kill him off, but then have him live on in Ghost. That's perfect case scenario if he has to die.
Book 8? We don't even have book 6.
Exactly, so I don't have to read about it. But, like, if it's gonna be in, like, the draft, put it in the draft of book 8. George R. R. Martin, note that down.
Okay, it's a weird fixation you've got. All right. So, Tyrion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tyrion is on a ship across the narrow sea. Were you so happy that I forced you to make another prediction?
I am so glad. Yes.
Literally, but it's funny because all of the options he's considering are all the options you were considering, except he never, ever, ever thinks about Jenna Lannister.
I think that was just like, how can we see Jenna Lannister again? That was me plotting. That wasn't really, I don't know if that, but yeah, literally I was like, okay, he could go to Dorne.
Yeah, Varys is the one who's sending him somewhere. Who does Varys know? Does he know Jenna Lannister? I had to like really lay the crumbs for you.
Yeah, well, I told you, I was like, I know that this is embarrassing, and I know that I've had a literal year and a half to figure out where Tyrion is, but I haven't really, I don't know, like...
You would think that you would have, like, ruled out Dorne. You would have ruled out, like, Jenna Lannister, but no, you just doubled down on it.
Well, maybe he was hiding, Maybe he went to Old Town. Maybe he was like, I'm gonna be a maester now, Maybe he's the one causing this shit with Jaqen. He wants to watch the world burn, Maybe now that his world's burnt,
Yeah.
It's possible.
Okay, so he's on the ship going across the narrow sea. He doesn't know exactly where he's going, but he's thinking about where he could go. He's like, I could go to Dorne and mess up shit by making Marcella queen.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could go to the Wall and repent and, pay for my sins and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's really doing, he's just, because he doesn't have any control over it, of where he's going, he just drinks himself. He is very drunk the whole chapter.
Very, yeah, it's very, the brother of his sister, like, they're both just drinking, because it's at the same time, right? So they're both just spending their time drinking away their woes.
That's true. I did think about that. But yeah, he's in rough shape, and he keeps coming back to this where do whores go thing, because that's where his dad said that Tysha went. And it's kind of like a psychotic break almost that has occurred for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, you hate to see it, but also, like you said, it's like for us, it's been so long that it feels like, okay, get over it, dude.
Yeah, sorry, buddy, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Let's recap real quick, okay?
So he
was put on trial for something he didn't do. His dad basically sentenced him to be beheaded. His brother rescued him, but then told him that he had lied to him about the most important thing in his life for his entire life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His dad, he found the woman he seemed to love in bed with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then his dad insulted him, his ex-wife, like all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And he just killed his dad.
Yeah.
And he killed Shay, of course. So, like, a lot has happened for him just recently. He did refrain from killing Varys. He's like, I don't know why. Like, it would have just been another one, but I guess I felt like I owed him. So, Varys, he did not kill, but also, Varys
is not fucking here. That was fucking wild. Where's Varys? Where's Waldo? Like, the fuck?
Guesses? Any guesses?
Okay, I don't know. Okay, one thought that I had was maybe it's like, he's gonna send Tyrion away, like, he sent Tyrion away, and then he's gonna follow and, like, go hang out with Illyrio. But...
So he's just on a different ship, but he's going to the same
that
place.
was one thought that I had. But that thought's probably wrong for many reasons, but one of the reasons is that, their relationship was very transactional, and it's kind of like, now that Varys isn't in his position, like, maybe he has less to offer, like, it's very, like...
Sorry, whose relationship was transactional?
Illyrio and Varys,
But maybe giving Illyrio Tyrion is a sort of payment.
Yeah. But then I'm like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's not that. And I'm like, well, Tyrion already didn't kill him, so he could have just come. But then I guess it could have been too suspicious, like, the fuck's Varys doing?
Or maybe
he's got disguises
to do somewhere.
He's got disguises, yeah. But also I'm like, where... Okay, last time we saw him, he was in a disguise of a begging brother. Where is that? Like, what's a begging brother? Where could you go with
like
that?
it's like the devoted like people who follow the seven.
So all of them are just begging brothers?
Not all of them are begging brothers, but a very specific kind that are like super devoted.
Okay, so then he could be like with the High Septon right now. He could be making the Cersei stuff happen behind the scenes. He could be
imagine if he's the one who rescues Cersei from the
that shit would be wild. He could be part of the religious army getting dispatched right now. I don't know where else
does he strike you as a fighter?
No, he doesn't. I don't know where he is though. Like, is he? I don't know. Maybe he's in Dorne. Someone's got to be in Dorne. Wait, where's he from again? Like, where's he from?
From the Free Cities.
Okay.
Maybe that's how he knows Illyrio.
Maybe he went back home.
In their youths.
Maybe he went back home. I don't know.
He's given up on his mission to save the realm.
No. Maybe he's gonna go meet Dany. Pledge allegiance to her. I don't know.
And you think so?
I don't know what
Tyrion
he's doing.
is being sent to Dany, then why isn't he just with him?
I don't know. I have no idea where Varys is or what he's doing.
All right. Okay. That's enough for now. Okay. Also, I had forgotten this, but you had definitely forgotten this because Jaime, when he rescued Tyrion, he did say that Varys was going to take him to one of the Free Cities. He didn't say which one, and you never mentioned like the Free Cities.
Yeah, because Kate, here's my thing. I didn't think he was going to take the same passage cuz I guess like I forgot that like Jaime doesn't know the specifics of the plan because he just said, Varys, get Tyrion out of here. He didn't coordinate. So that's why I never predicted, oh, he might just do what the original plan was, to go to one of the Free Cities. Because I guess in my mind it was like, well, if he did that, Jaime could know and Jaime would find... No! Because it literally... No! That's literally what I was thinking! Because I probably even said that at one point, where I was like, well, he can't do what he was gonna do because Jaime knows. But the detail I forgot about was that Jaime isn't the planner in the household, you know? Varys is the planner.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, anyway, he is drunk on this ship, and it's just... He's not eating, he's just drinking, puking, and then lying in his own puke. It's basically all he does.
Mm-hmm. Pretty bad.
And...
Fun fact,
eventually
all the fun cities, all the Free Cities have different dialects, so he's like, I have a hard time understanding them, even though I learned High Valyrian. Yeah,
they all speak like a variation of High Valyrian, but because they've kind of developed into their own cultures, it's so different that it's like in Pentos he talks about how he can barely understand like every fifth word in a sentence or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
there was a really heartbreaking line when he's describing how he spends his days. He's like, at least he did not dream. He dreamed enough for one small life, and of such follies, love, justice, friendship, glory. And I was like, damn, this is really depressing.
Yeah. No wonder he's so depressed. But, okay, so eventually he wakes up and they have reached the port.
Okay, wait, sorry, one more thing. When he's thinking back to, like, how he and Varys, like, he came back down the ladder, and then him and Varys kept going, and then they end up at the Blackwater, and finally he's like, I killed my dad, whatever. And Varys just said, you shouldn't have climbed that ladder, he said reproachfully. That's so casual for what happened.
Right. Also, remember we had, like, when we talked about this chapter, we had that whole theory about, like, was Varys actually setting him up to do this?
Right,
like,
yeah.
Was Shay planted there? Like, there's all these conspiracies.
Yeah, it just... I know that, like, Varys is calm and chill and can, like, you know, run with the punches, but this felt wild.
Yeah. I mean, even the way Tyrion informs him that he killed his father is very casual. He says it like he was saying that he had stubbed his toe, you know?
Yeah. I've killed my father. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And even after, what makes me think that our theories before were right too, he's like, I killed Shay too. You knew what she was. I did, but I never knew what he was. Varys tittered, and now you do. I'm like, did you want him to see that? Like, oh my god. Yeah, it just, all of Varys, I can understand why people have so many conspiracies.
Yeah, the big hole in that theory was, how would Varys know that Jaime had told him that he'd been lying and all of that?
I don't know. But, like, I can see why people are getting all these theories, because Varys just seems so suspicious in these scenes.
Oh, yeah. I agree. 100%. Yeah. Sorry, before they reach port, there's one final storm, and it's like, it's major, and he's like, is this your vengeance, father? Has the father above made you his hand? That's funny.
Oh god.
So yeah, after the storm is when he wakes up, and they reached port, and they pick him up and stuff him into a cask of wine, and it's real uncomfortable. It's terrible. He says it's only about a half an hour, but that journey lasted longer than any other he'd ever taken. So,
oh, poor guy.
I mean, he gets rolled around and pushed, and just the fact that he, like, how many times might he have thrown up in that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot for sure.
Yeah. So he gets, eventually, somebody opens the thing, and we find out it's Illyrio, and Tyrion kind of topples himself out of the barrel and is like, oh, who are you? Because, yada, yada, yada. He calls Illyrio a rotting sea cow, which, what is a sea cow? Like, which animal is he referring to?
I don't know. Sea cow, like a whale?
Is it a whale? Would they call a whale a sea cow?
I don't know. I didn't really stop to think about it.
Because I figured it was just like, a weird, like, fantasy name for just like a regular animal, but I didn't know which one. So anyway, yeah, he's like, oh, you are insolent. I like that in a dwarf. And Tyrion's like, I'm thirsty and filthy. So he's like, well, I'll get you a shower, and then you can eat and do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And yeah,
he's like, oh, I'm in Pentos.
Yes, exactly. Oh no, he realizes that later, after he's at some point he's looking out the window and he kind of gathers from his surroundings. Yeah. Right now he's just concerned about bathing and getting something to eat and drink. Mm-hmm. So he gets like a nice little room, and there's some well-made clothes set out for him, but they're ill-fitting because they're very clearly made for a kid. Mm-hmm. And also they're super old and like kind of rotting. So it's this weird combination of like this lavish outfit, but also just
not good.
Is it like a metaphor for Tyrion? Like, I don't know. I was trying to like read much more into this than maybe.
I don't know if it is, because Tyrion is just so down in the dumps right now. Like, where's the lavish? What's the lavish?
Like, he himself is the greatest, like, he's a great mind, but now he's a bit moth-eaten and rusty or something. I don't know.
Right. I see. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that quite works, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just, there was a lot of attention paid to these clothes, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And he looks out his window, and there's like a pool, and there's this marble statue of this naked 16-year-old, or like approximately 16-year-old boy. And yeah, he at first he thinks it's like an actual kid, but then he realizes that it's some painted marble statue.
And he's drunk.
So, yes, exactly. And he's like, okay, what is all this? He's trying to like recognize. So he's like, it's not Bravos, it's not Tyrosh, and it's too cold to be Lys or Myr or Volantis, so it's got to be Pentos. That's how he comes to that conclusion. Mm-hmm. And Illyrio confirms it. And of course, his first real question to Illyrio is, where do whores go? I counted this. Hang on. Did I get a count of how many times he brings this up? Let me. Okay. 8 times in this one chapter.
God. Oh, Tyrion. It's giving, and she fucked Moonboy too. What was it? And she fucked Osney and Moonboy. Like, all of these siblings are literally one and the same. It's so funny how they react the same way to everything, but then they all keep denouncing one another, and it's like, no, you're all siblings. Like, trust.
Yeah. Okay. So Illyria's like, yo, you don't need to go find a whore. You can have sex with any of the serving women that are here. And Tyrion's like, are they slaves? And he's like, well, no, their slaves are forbidden here, but no one will refuse you, which is basically like, yeah, they're slaves, but just
don't keep it on the DL, dude.
Yeah. It's just
yeah,
sorry.
It's not fun.
Yeah, because we also know that his guards, Tyrion picks up that his guards are, what's their name? Unsullied. Mm-hmm. And they are also bought and sold as enslaved people. So, like, there's clearly slavery going on, but, like, it's one of those, like, no, we don't do it. It's totally all above board.
It's outlawed. Wink, wink.
Yeah, we pay them with room and board. Like,
yeah.
It's, yeah. And then later, that one girl is like, yeah, I was bought to please the king. And all, so very, like, it's like beneath the surface, but not even. Yeah, so Illyria's he's got a busy day ahead. He's got this meeting of all the magistrates and whatnot. So he's like,
bye, buddy.
Take a walk around. Just don't leave the house, you know? You're on house arrest. And Tyrion's like, fine. So he, like, starts basically going around the house. But then
he also, before that, he's like, it's best that no one knew you were here. Tyrion's like, have I gone somewhere? Which was our first clue to, like, what's going on here? Like,
this is temporary, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, you know, I wouldn't mind a few weeks in a warm place with all the best food. And
especially
a pool
after, like, literally after all the trauma that I just went through, you're sending me on a mission. And, like, a mission where I'm literally putting behind, like, everything that I've ever stood for, you know what I mean? Not everything that I've ever stood for, but, like, my whole family, and that's what I've always stood for, you know? And, like, sure, now, like, I really hate them and shit, but, like, you know, it's still a big
Maybe that's why they're sending him now, because if he, like, relaxes
right, then he'll change his mind.
His anger might wear off.
Wait, you're actually right. That's so true, yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, he, like, goes to the kitchens, gets some food. He's, like, talking to everybody, asking them, where do whores go?
Yeah.
He asks in High Valyrian. He asks, like, whatever he can muster up.
Yeah. See, it was interesting, because I think it was earlier, he accidentally thought about Jaime, like, when he was like, oh, Jaime told me that Varys is sending me here. And then he's like, best not to think about Jaime right now. And I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting more like, you motherfucker. Like, I wasn't really expecting like
Well, remember he also turned to Jaime at the end and was like, I did kill Joffrey. Take that, bitch.
And like, he also was like, he told Jaime about all the Cersei shenanigans.
Yeah, and he was like, the next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you and all of that.
Yeah, so...
And I think he doesn't actually want to do that. So if he thinks about it, he's going to be like, oh, I made that promise, but I don't want to keep it.
Yeah. Even later when he's like, Cersei and Jaime are mine to kill, and it almost feels like Illyrio's kind of eye-rolling at him. He's like, okay, sure, buddy. Like, and
at one point, he's looking at the spikes on the wall, and he's like, oh, I'm going to put them side by side so that they're never separated, not even in death.
Yeah.
His mind is so weird right now.
But that was kind of how he was thinking about Jaime. And then with his dad, it was the wherever whores go. But then it also was interesting, like, I don't know,
Cersei might be his favorite sibling right now.
And that's funny. And that's really funny. Oh my god, maybe, and then when Jaime doesn't come to save Cersei, maybe Cersei will pull what Sansa did for Jon Snow and just pretend that she liked Tyrion all along. Just kidding, she wouldn't. Too much has happened. But, you know when Sansa was
Wait, when did Sansa pretended she liked Jon Snow
not pretended
all
that she
along?
liked Jon Snow all along, but when she was like, this is probably how Jon felt as a bastard, or whatever.
Right. She's starting to sympathize with him a little bit more.
Yeah, so maybe Cersei will be like, well, maybe this is how, I don't know. I am just making a connection where one doesn't exist. Anyway, the point I was actually trying to make is, so that's how he kind of thinks about those family members. But then it's really interesting to me that we spent 2 entire fucking books in his head with him being like, I'm in love with Shae and she won't love me back, right? And like, we knew that it probably wasn't like love, you know? But still, like, he still spent a long time, like, really obsessed with her and just, like, really in love with the idea of, like, being able to love her, right? Whatever. And, like, obviously to some degree, like, Shae was just kind of like a Tysha stand-in for him, too, right? Because, like, that's the girl he still hasn't forgotten, right? And, like, they got married and all this shit. And now it's just, like, he killed her and now he didn't think about her once. It wasn't like, oh, and I killed my beloved Shae. Like, it instantly just was like, oh my god, Tysha. Well, I guess you could argue that the Where Do Whores Go is also... No, I don't think so. I think it's just Tysha. But, like... Yeah, but now...
I think it kind of exposes his narcissism in his relationship with Shae. It was really all about him.
Exactly. It was always just like, someone can love me, and he was always just like... His whole purpose in that relationship was like... See, she does like me. And then his brain being like, no, she doesn't, you fucking idiot. Like, just the same thing as the guy in the prologue of, like, it's always, it's such a man thing, too. Like, the way they're raised to, like, think about themselves in like, you have to be so confident and, like, you have to have this great ego, but then when you have self-esteem issues, it presents as this, like, weird egotistical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it just was weird that he never thought about Shae, and then it also, another thing where I kind of felt bad for him.
I think killing Shae might be the only thing okay, it's either that he is so self-obsessed that he literally doesn't think about her, or it's the only one of his crimes that he kind of regrets.
So he doesn't really want to think about it.
But with Jaime, I feel like him thinking about Jaime and being like, no, I don't want to think about Jaime, that exposes more of like a thing I don't want to think.
Right,
like,
yeah.
I regret. So maybe it is just like the self-obsessed thing, yeah.
Because I think because I think also now it's like, that was before, like she was kind of his stand-in for Tysha, right? So now he can kind of obsess over this Tysha thing of like, where's Tysha? She did actually love me. And like his whole thing with Shae was like the proof that someone loves me and that I am lovable and worthy. But now it's like he was loved, so now he can focus on that. And like he can chase that love instead of the love that he somewhere in the back of his mind knew that he wasn't getting from Shae, you know?
Yeah, he was just using Shae, and she served her purpose.
Yeah.
Even his, like, her purpose as somebody to take his anger out on. And, like, now he's over it. And, this doesn't reflect greatly on him.
Yeah.
And,
but the one thing I will say he is, because everything else he's kind of like, well, I don't want to think about the Jaime thing. I don't want to think about the Shae thing. Like, whatever. But then, like, he's like, there's like a wind and he's outside and he's like, it reminded me of how Tysha would rifle his hair during the false spring of their marriage before he helped his father's guardsmen rape her. So at least for one thing, he's like, oh shit, I did do that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I regret that. Because like with all the recent events, like, he's not really taking accountability for anything. And it feels like in this whole chapter, that's kind of the only thing where he's like, I did that.
Well, I think with his, like, where do whores go, that's all, like, the guilt. It's, like, him being like, oh, I bought into their lies and I let her be tortured and who knows where she is now. So, he definitely feels guilty about that.
Yeah. I think it just was, like, even more spelled out in, like, and that's what I did, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so he is going around the whole house yard. He goes and gets himself some exclusive wine to drink.
Whoa.
And then he goes and whines to the washerwoman, and he's like, maybe I should go to the wall, maybe I should go to Dorne, and she's just like kind of ignoring him. But later on, when Illyrio kind of knows his plans, he's like, maybe she wasn't ignoring me and knew the common tongue more than I think she did.
And it's also funny because he's kind of doing what Ned does. He's left, like, he's not Tyrion the mastermind right now, you know? Like, I feel like
he's just like, I don't care. Like, we also like figure out that he doesn't really want to die, but he also kind of wants to die. It's like a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, if they, come and find me, then it's all for the better. But if they don't, then whatever, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of, to that same point, walking around the yard, he finds these mushrooms that he knows are poisonous. And there's 7 of them, right? Yeah, because he's like, this is some godly intervention or something. And he picks the mushrooms and keeps them. So that's interesting. But later on, when Illyrio offers him apparently these mushrooms, he doesn't want to eat them. So he wants to die, but he doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
And so he goes to his room. It's time to get ready for his dinner with Illyrio and this enslaved person. Does she get a name?
I don't think so.
No, just blonde-haired girl. That's all it says. Yeah, so she's the one who's like, okay, go bathe and get ready for the dinner with Illyrio, but also I'm here to please you however you want. He's like, okay, maybe you can tell me where whores go, and just all of his bullshit. And she's like, okay, all right, let's get you washed up. And then she asks him, do you want me to be here when you're done dinner? And he says no, and then she looks too satisfied for his liking, so then he changes his mind to try to like
get
her to fear him. Yeah. And then she doesn't feel fear, she just feels kind of like whatever. And then she's like, and then he talks about how the last sex worker he was with, he killed her, and then that does incite fear, and then he's happy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, because then he also relates it back to, like, Tywin didn't think I was gonna fucking do it, which pushed me over the edge to do it, too. Like, because he's like, he didn't even look afraid when I came at him with the arrow.
Right.
And I'm just like, dude, you literally killed him. Like, get over it. Like, stop torturing this poor girl.
Get over it.
Get over it as in, like, you did what you were gonna do. Like, you scared him. You got him. He's in hell quaking in his boots.
Yeah, he's like, I'll be the monster everybody thinks me to be, and
yeah,
it's just not what you want to do, Tyrion. But it's okay. You know what? It's only his first chapter after a long time.
Yeah, I'm very much
if
speaking...
this continues, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
But for now, I guess we'll overlook it.
When he's talking to the woman that he's trying to scare, when he first asks her, like, do you know where whores go? She's like, whores sell themselves for coin, and then he's like, or jewels, or gowns, or castles. Is that just him talking, or is that a reference to, like, Shay selling him out? Because maybe that's the one Shay mentioned.
Maybe both.
Okay, cool. Because I was like, wait, I just made a whole big deal about how he never mentioned Shay. But even here, he's, like, blaming her for selling out, you know?
Yeah. So the sex worker, she says that I was bought to please the king. Did you get what that was about?
I was bought to please the king. No.
Viserys?
She's been here since then? Oh my god.
I think so.
Oh my god, the girl in the bathtub.
Oh wait, no, not from this is not the same character from the show.
yeah, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. That, like, when you told me she was bought for Viserys, that's what I thought of.
I do think we may have heard of her in, like, one of those very first Daddy chapters. I don't know. But I think that is who she's talking about.
Oh my god.
And she's got, like,
okay.
the Targaryen-like features and whatever, so that, like,
Oh.
further leans into it, you know?
Oh, okay, interesting.
So I think, yeah, what the way in which that interests me is that this person's been around since those days.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she knows about Daenerys and stuff that, like, you know, she knows things that we
Right.
want to know.
Dude. Okay. That's so interesting. We love that. Okay, wait, I'm so sorry to keep bringing this up, but literally last time.
Sure.
Where he's like, I was about to
I
please
don't know if wargs are the same thing as
so, the part
I don't know what happens when they die.
Oh my god. The part I just brought up of like the or jewels or gowns or castles, immediately after he does think of Shay. So I do think that it's related. And he specifically names her. She's like, is it a riddle, dude? Like, why are you harping on this, basically? And he's like, no, I hate riddles. The only part of you that interests me is the part between your legs. She's not Shay, only some little fool who thinks I play at riddles. I'm not exactly sure what he means by that, but either way, he's thinking about Shay.
Yeah,
is it like
only in so much as like an object?
Yeah, in a
to
very
serve a
in a
purpose.
derogatory, like, fucking Shay was like this too. Like, yeah, it's like he's kind of completely changed his mind about what he thinks about her, like months after believing he's in love with her. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes to dinner. The chairs are big because Illyrio's big. Like, he does say, like, Tyrion Lannister had lived all his life in a world that was too big for him, but in the manse of Illyrio Mopatis, the sense of disproportion assumed grotesque dimensions, which was an interesting description. But it also, like, lends itself to that whole, like, him feeling, like, little in this role, like, of no consequence or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay. They're talking, yada, yada, yada. I'm just gonna skip to the interesting parts. There's a lot of food descriptions. He does say that he'd never eaten so well, even at court, so that's something.
Cersei, step up your catering game, girl.
Catering. Illyrio talks about, like, Tyrion asks him about his meeting, and Illyrio's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of upset happening in the world, you know, there's all this stuff happening in Marine and Slaver's Bay and all of that. And Tyrion's like, what does that all even matter? And Illyrio's like, everything matters. It's the whole world is a web.
Connected. I'm like, damn, Illyrio, start worrying.
Yeah. And this is when they bring out the mushrooms that Tyrion thinks are poison, but turns out they're not. But it was just to, like, be like, first off, I know that you picked those poison mushrooms, so I know you're contemplating death. But also, you better not be trying to poison me, because I know you have them. And also, if you really want to die, here, try it. But turns out they're not poisoned. It's just a whole test.
Oh my god.
It's, yeah, he's like, oh, it's, you can't poison a guest. Oh, I can if the guest seems so inclined to die.
Oh my god.
Why don't you just save us some wine and we'll drown you in it outright instead of you doing it 1 cup at a time?
Oh my god.
It wastes both time and wine.
Oh god. Ugh.
And Tyrion kind of is like, you know what? Eating mushrooms would be a much easier death than, like, you know, like a knife or a sword or something. So maybe I should go ahead.
He's like, that frightened him more than he could say. As soon as he kind of realizes what he's thinking, he's like, wait.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you're wrong. Why would I want to die? You have nothing. And that was kind of sad. But we can change that.
Yeah. And this is where he's like, okay, we have work to do. You gotta keep up your strength. Eat up. Yes. Oh, Illyrio is like, okay, you drink a lot of wine for such a small person. And Tyrion's like, yeah, well, kinslaying is dry work. And Illyrio's comment to this is like, maybe it's a good thing you killed Tywin. And this is when he's like, you better be careful what you say about my family. What, even though I'm a kinslayer, I'm a lion still. And this is where Illyrio does the, you Westerosis are all the same. You sew some beast upon a scrap of silk, and suddenly you are all lions or dragons or eagles.
Yeah.
And he's like, you want to see a real lion? Want to hang out with them? And then Tyrion's like, okay, you know what? That's true. Even if I'm not a lion, I'm still a Lannister, and Jaime and Cersei are mine to kill, so...
Oh my god. Yeah, that's when he says
it's that. It's like a weird family loyalty, but he's still plotting to kill them. It's like, it's so messed up. This world is so messed up.
Yeah, this is the fucking dysfunctional family shit. Like, you guys, I just finished watching Succession. Like, and it's very, like, you know, sometimes people will describe it as, like, contemporary Game of Thrones, and I get it now, because now that I've actually seen Succession, like, in its entirety.
Yeah.
And because it just, same thing, it's just, like, family backstabbings, and it's just, like, you're just fighting for the throne, you know? It just means something different in this day and age. And it just is so, like, oh my god, if we just, like, calmed the hell down, and you guys just, like, had a childhood, like, this would all go away. Like, this would all be fine. But no. We had to be raised by Tywin Lannister. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. So Tyrion learns that that Cersei is offered a lordship to whoever brings her his head. So that's great. God. And Illyrio's like, well, I wouldn't want that, but maybe I would want my weight in gold. And Tyrion's like, I'll give you all the gold, just give me Casterly Rock.
Oh my god.
Because it is his by right, so...
Yeah.
So, Illyrio's like, maybe Stannis will give it to you. And this is when... I keep saying the exact same sentences again and again and again, and I know I say them every time, but I'm saying them extra today. It's like my vocabulary has shrunk to a very abysmal, like, number. See, I can't even remember the word for number.
It's okay. It's okay. Some days do be like that. You just be repeating yourself all the time, and you're like, what's going on?
So, Illyrio knows that Tyrion contemplates going to the wall and then he thinks it's because Stannis is at the wall, but Tyrion doesn't know Stannis is at the wall. Does Illyrio know about all the happenings beyond the wall? I wonder.
I don't know, maybe.
Does Varys?
I don't know.
Is that how they want to save the realm?
Maybe they're too southern to believe it, though. Maybe they're too fucking eastern to believe it. Or maybe they're eastern, that's why they believe it. They're outside of, like, the Westeros beliefs, so they can kind of see it for what it is, maybe. I don't know. But, but this does make sense to me, though, that they know about the Stannis stuff, because that's, like, political, right. You know?
Yeah, but do they know why Stannis went?
I think they probably, like, whether they believe it or not, like, if they don't believe it, they're like, oh, Stannis is pandering to the Northerners, like, whatever, trying to get the Northerners on his side. But then if they do believe it, they're like, oh yeah, Stannis, man of his, like, convictions, you know, and, like, his morals, as he puts it. Yeah. He's like, what in 7 bloody hells is Stannis doing at the wall? And that was just really funny to me, because this guy's so behind.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Stannis just got there, remember?
Oh, wait, yes, oops, yes.
And then his Dorne plan doesn't make sense, because by queening Marcella, he's effectively killing Marcella. And he's like, I know, I just want to be a pain in somebody's ass, okay?
Valid. And you're so right for that, Tyrion.
Yeah. And Illyrio does say, like, Dorne might rise for Marcella, but Dorne alone is not enough. So, once again, like, Doran is smart to not let that plot of Ariane's go ahead.
Right, yeah.
So he's like, instead of wasting your time on all of these petty things, how about you make a real difference? Why don't you... How does he say it? You know, like, go work for a savior, basically, is what
The
he
road
said. And
to
Tyrion's like, oh, really?
The road to Casterly Rock does not go through Dorne, nor does it run beneath the wall.
Right.
Yeah, and then, like,
Yeah.
and then he talks about the whole prince thing of, like, don't worry,
Yet there
there's
is a road, I
turnover.
tell you.
Like, there's so much turnover, like, the people just go to someone else who isn't gonna try and get you killed for what you did.
Mhm.
AKA Danny.
Words are wind. Who is this bloody savior? A dragon. A dragon with 3 heads.
Go off. Okay, so why does he know about that?
The Targaryen sigil is a 3-headed
Oh wait,
dragon.
yes. Oh wait, oops. I forgot about that. Ignore that I said that.
No, please make that into a clip and put it on Instagram.
Why does he know that? It's okay, guys. It's okay, guys. I can only have so many smart moments per episode. I need to ratio
That's
it
true.
out.
You are
with
compensating
dumb
for
ones.
both of our smarts today, so I'll let you have it. I can't be an asshole and be so short-circuiting in my brain today. I can't do both. I can't have my cake and eat it too.
Oh, I want cake.
Well, get cake then.
Okay.
We're at the end of this chapter.
Yeah, okay.
Prediction. So you think Illyria wants to send Tyrion to Daenerys? That is your prediction.
Yes, sir. And
what
I think,
makes you say that?
Well, all of the things. He's certainly not sending him to Viserys, I'll tell you that. Or I hope not. That would mean he's killing him.
Yeah, why does he say a dragon with 3 heads? Is Daenerys, since the last time we've seen her, has she grown 2 heads?
Oh my god. Okay, I have a question. Oh wait, no, not a question. I have thoughts, and I'm just gonna give them to you. But before that, I have... Wait, another thought. I had a realization.
Instead of listing out what you have, why don't you just tell us?
Okay, wait. First, I came to a realization at the end of this chapter, right? And that was, you know how I kept wanting to see all the dragon head action happening?
Mm-hmm.
Now we got a dragon head who we gotta see journey, you know? And remember last time I was like, Tyrion could be a dragon head.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so glad I predicted that just in time. Go me.
Yeah, but you weren't, like, set on Tyrion.
Okay,
you were
who cares?
waddling.
I'm not... Okay, I was waddling because I have, like, 5 dragon heads in mind. That's why, okay? I have Tyrion, Dany...
If you name every character in the series, that doesn't give you any points. You
Okay,
that.
You know what? Fine. I'm calling it now. And
I'm back
Tyrion...
to being an asshole.
Tyrion was always on the list. As soon as I thought of Tyrion, I was like, oh, he's got to be in there. I was like, okay, we got a Stark, we got a Lannister, and we got a Targaryen. And that's perfect, because it's like, okay, wait, sorry, no, I have so many thoughts. Hold on, let me start going through them one by one. Okay, first realization I had was
sit back and enjoy this.
He's the perspective that we didn't have before. Because, like, Dany can only have so many chapters, right? And she, historically, has less chapters than a lot of the other characters, you know? So, like, and Dany has the most interesting story going on right now. So I was like, we need more perspectives.
I don't know if it's true that she has fewer chapters than other characters. It's
it
just
always
that, like,
feels
she's
like...
her POV is the only one we get in that part of the world.
I guess. Maybe. Okay, either way. So now it's like we have more people there. We got more representation and we're good. Because I remember I kept, when you were like, what are POVs that you want? I was like, I just want to see the Dragonhead battles going on. Like, I'm kind of almost, like, you know... Oh, wait, no, but we also got that other guy. What's his name? The brother? Euron's brother?
Victarion.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him. So anyway, we got a couple other POVs. So that's one thought that I had. Another thought that I had, this could actually work out really well. 'Cause Dany's got the approval rating of like, hey, all of these kings have been here screwing you guys over, fucking things up. Meanwhile, I've been over there freeing people, doing things, and now I'm here. Like, I haven't failed yet, because I haven't had a... You know what I mean?
They call her the savior. When she's been pulling kind of like white savior shit. Sorry.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, that is kind of annoying. Yeah, we don't like that.
Anyway, continue. I just have to say the things that come to my
No, that's fair. So that's what Dany's good for. But Tyrion has experience ruling the realm. He was the hand. But he also now is against the Lannisters. So that's good, right? Like, and he literally killed his father, which is kind of, it's like a perfect offering to Dany, you know? So that's amazing. One bad thing. Westeros has decided to blame Tyrion. And they don't, especially the people around King's Landing, don't necessarily like him. So we would need a PR campaign for that, for sure. And then my other...
I don't know, a bunch of dragons are pretty good PR.
That's true. He's got the dragons. What are we gonna do? Be mad? But then I'm also like we said, like, is this too far for him? Is he gonna commit? What if by then him and Jaime work things out? Is he gonna get Jaime a pardon? But how can he get Jaime a pardon when Jaime literally killed Dany's dad? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's all that. Yeah, basically we're just getting more bounties on Jaime's head, which isn't very fun for me. And then it's funny because we started off, you know how book 2 was everyone claiming that the comet was theirs?
Yes.
Now it's like everyone's going in to claim the dragon head. Like, everyone's like, I'm gonna be a dragon head. And it's funny because both events were like, oh, Dany's the true heir. And then it was everyone else trying to capitalize on that. Both things. It's also a great FU to Tywin because of how Tywin was treated by their family. So that's kind of a good thing for that. Okay, I have a question, or not question, I have some thoughts about Illyrio's relationship and thoughts about Dany, right? So, from the, one Varys Illyrio conversation that we still cling to this day from book 1, that, and from, like, generally how Illyrio did in fact help Dany, right? So from all that, it's kind of like, okay, he's like, Dany, cool, at the very least, like, she owes me, right? But now, there's this conflict of, like, Dany's going around freeing all the enslaved people and, like, kind of trying to get that out of here. And Illyrio's kind of worried about all of that spreading, right? Like, he doesn't necessarily like that rhetoric, and, like, he relies on, like, the Unsullied, and, like, he literally has enslaved people in his service. So I'm like, is it just, like, he's kind of like, Dany owes me, she's gonna leave it out of it? Is he gonna try and use Tyrion? Is he gonna be like, Tyrion, you owe me? His
buddy Varys was also kind of forced into labor.
Can you explain what you mean?
Okay, Varys was sold to some priest guy who cut off his genitals.
Uh-huh.
That's slavery.
Yeah.
Illyrio is friends with Varys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, like, another reason why he would dislike slavery. Adding to your thing.
Right, yeah. Like, why Illyrio would?
Why Illyrio would be for or against slavery, for Dany freeing enslaved people.
Okay, that makes sense to me, but, like, I guess I was just reading it as, like, because he says, there are troubles, Illyrio says, there are troubles in the east, Astapor has fallen, and Meereen, Giscari's slave cities that were old when the world was young. That, to me, felt like he was disapproving of the fact of what Dany was doing.
He was saying what the meeting with the magistrate was about.
Okay. I guess just the fact that he holds so many enslaved people was like, why would, like,
that's
I didn't
true.
think
like
that
his
he would.
His actions contradict his
like the political party he's supporting, you know? Like,
yeah. Kind
of feels like how's he gonna reckon with that? And also the thing of, like, being friends with Varys, like, I feel like it's also, like, tokenizing, you know? Like, I don't know if that's, like, that means that he, like, understands that what he's doing is wrong, sort of thing, you know? I don't know. But anyway, I guess I just wonder how he's gonna
reconcile
yeah,
both of those things. Yeah.
Or is he sending Tyrion as a way to be like, can we get her to change the platform she's running on so that I don't get screwed over? Like, is that how he's going to use Tyrion? You know? So, I don't know.
Yeah, that would suck.
And also, like, where's Varys? That was my last question and point. Yeah, those are all my thoughts. Those are all my thoughts on this chapter.
All right. Do we have any other prediction? Is Tyrion gonna get off the maybe I should die train?
I think so. I hope so.
Okay. Is he gonna get off the where do whores go train?
Probably not for a while. Like brother, you know? We spend a lot of time obsessing over things when we're Lannisters.
Okay. I don't have any other questions to ask. So I guess next chapters. We're gonna read 2. Give me your hopes and predictions.
I would like to see Jon, and I would like to see Dany.
Okay.
I wonder if we're gonna get any new ones, though.
Chapters 2 and 3 next time. Chapter 2 is Daenerys.
Yay! Okay.
Do you remember where we left off with her?
Oh, she decided to stay.
Yeah. She was like, I gotta learn to rule this place before I go rule Westeros. And everybody was like, bad plan. But she still went with it.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm hoping someone's arrived by now. Like, yeah. Yeah.
You realize by now means like...
Oh, wait. This is before people even started. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Kate. Wait. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we'll just see her ruling, doing her thing. I don't know. I don't remember enough to make good predictions.
All right.
Wait. She kicked Jorah out.
She did.
Barristan is alive, right?
Oh, yeah. Barristan's her homie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so maybe she'll learn from Barristan, do all the things. Maybe it could be cool.
Okay, cool. Chapter 3 is Jon.
Jon!
Look, your hopes from all of last book are finally coming true.
Stop. Weird how that works, huh?
Every single time. Next chapter's Daenerys and Jon. Daenerys and Jon. Daenerys and Jon.
You know, sometimes you fall into your own
now
mind
we're
palace.
So restricted with our characters, it's probably going to be them like every time anyway. So.
Oh my god. Yeah, I do wonder if we're going to get any new POVs. First 3 are just our classics, like, you know. But I guess also we have so much to like catch up on with them that if it ends up like
remind yourself of, yeah.
Oh wait, and LeBran. Like if it ends up just being classics, that might honestly be fine because so now we have to catch up a whole book's worth, and then I'm really hoping and praying that we get new like timeline beyond where we left off. And to do all that, we would need many of these characters' chapters. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. So you're like, give me all of them so that I can just like move ahead in the story.
Exactly. So honestly, I'm kind of fine if we don't get any more new people.
Whoa.
Like, who would we even get, you know? Okay, maybe, actually, I want, like, one new POV to spice things up. But, like, other than that, I'm fine. Like, honestly, that's fine.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait, what's Jon doing? Wait, I didn't make a single Jon prediction. Okay. Oh my god, wait, we get to see Jon again. Okay, last time we saw him was, like... Did we even see him after he became Lord Commander? Weren't we just seeing Sam's
We saw
POV?
him in Sam's first chapter in Feast for Crows when he sends Sam off to the
so maybe
Citadel.
We get his thinking behind the Dallas stuff or the baby boy stuff. Maybe he's like, I miss Sam. Maybe he's like, Stannis is so fucking annoying. We're probably gonna get some Melisandre plot. Maybe they find out that he sent them off, so now he has to deal with them being mad at him while his friends are mad at him. Like, there's just... Maybe other stuff is happening. Like, maybe they're hearing reports. Like, there's so much going on. We're still trying to rebuild after all the friggin' carnage and shit. So there's a lot going on. I don't know what exactly is gonna happen, but there's a lot going on.
Coolio. Okay. Let me just... I don't think we have any new emails, but I'm just gonna do a quick check. I have something to add, not for these chapters, but in general for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, coming up, there will be a few months where we won't be able to record, but that's not for several months now. But we are going to start batching episodes as much as we can. Like, we're going to start recording as much as we can, so that when we're gone, there's not a lapse in episodes. But what that means is slowly our episodes are going to be like recorded way in advance of when they come out. Like, eventually it's gonna, the distance between when we record,
it might be literal months. Like,
yeah, so maybe our, references will grow stale. The staler they grow, the better it is, because that means we got that many more episodes in.
Oh my god.
That means that we won't have to miss any, or fewer than ideally we don't have to miss any. But just letting you know, like, this episode is only being recorded a couple weeks before it comes out. But eventually it's going to be like a month, and a month and a half, 2 months, maybe multiple months. So if what we're saying doesn't make sense and you're like, that is so last year, maybe it was. Maybe it was. And it also means that we'll be reading emails when we record, but that doesn't mean that that's when you'll be hearing them, Yeah. So we ask for your patience.
Yeah.
And
like, there might come a point where we don't read your email for like months, and that's just because that's how far in advance we record it. It's not because we're ignoring you or anything.
Exactly. We have read every single email we've ever received, unless there was that at the beginning when I didn't realize some of them were going to spam, and I didn't know to check spam regularly. But for at least like the last 2 years, I've been checking spam as well. But yeah, if you send an email, we will read it. And we're just trying to make sure that we don't
have to miss anything. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to miss content. We just want to make sure everybody has episodes every 2 weeks,
And just to clarify, because we sound so cryptic right now, it's because we're going to be traveling.
Oh, is it? Do we?
It's because we're going to be traveling. That's why. We're not like, we're taking months off because we're having issues or something. Like, there's nothing going on. It's not school stuff.
We're going on hiatus from our friendship. I can't deal with you anymore.
Like, it's just because of, like, we're going to be traveling for, like, 3 to 4 months in a row. So we're trying to make up for that. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Just because I realized how cryptic and...
Oh, well, I didn't realize that I was cryptic. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
But, so that's the thing. So you can definitely email us. Please do continue to email us. But if it's something where you're like, oh, I want them to see this right away, join the Discord, text us. Link in the show notes.
We will respond. We'll be checking Discord even if we're not... even if we're traveling. Yeah, exactly. And this won't be for several months that we're traveling. We're just thinking ahead because we're planners, so.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so yeah, like, you could still get in touch with us, all the things, but we just won't be able to live read them on the pod because we may not be recording for a while.
But this book is long, so like, we'll still have like our wrap up at the end, and that'll be like live, I'm pretty sure. So,
it's not that long. Yeah.
We're gonna be in this book for a while. Let me see. Let me do a guesstimate real quick.
Of when you think we'll finish?
Yeah. Oh, like at least a year and a half.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we're chilling.
So we're good. We're good.
We are so chilling. We're gonna be so back to live by the time we're ready to finish this book.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's coming down the pike. Anything else?
Also, another reason you should join the Discord is because by the time this episode comes out, we will have had another watch party, and it will have been so fun. So if you want to get in on the watch parties, join the Discord.
Yeah, especially now that we won't be able to do semi-live announcements. Mm-hmm. They'll all be super stale, so.
Yeah, so best way to know what's going on will be Discord and Instagram at Pop Culture. Okay, I guess I'm doing this. At Pop Culture at Pop Culture Symposium, or the Facebook, same username. Yeah.
So join the Discord, follow the social media, send emails.
Yes.
Email is popculturesymposium@gmail.com. And that's everything we got for now. I'm excited to be starting this book.
Yeah.
we've got a lot of there's so much that is going to happen in this book.
I'm
can't wait.
Genuinely afraid of this book.
This book is like packed to pretty much the same extent that Storm of Swords is packed. So like
Dude.
there's just
and that's wild. And that's wild.
Yeah. It's a different it's a very different book from Storm of Swords, but it's also like anyway. So there's very good reasons that this is a lot of people's favorite book as well. So
wow.
That's all I'll say.
I'm so excited.
So. Have I met my quota for saying so's for the day?
I believe so.
Thank you. Until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.